Paul Rotherham, and it's lovely to have you here. I'm coming to you from my cozy kitchen in Benoni. I'm joined by three lovely people, Marika and Mary, who you know very well by now, as we enjoy week 2 with a wonderful gentleman who we got to meet in our last session, and that is Warren Munitz. Marika, I'll allow you to do the introductions for this week.
Good. Thank you so much, Paul. Yes, we are the coaching hour still, and hope that you can get some value of being coached this morning as well. So yes, we have today again Warren Munitz. He is an executive master coach, author, and founder of Integrative Coaching. He has an online course in stress mastery, which he's sharing some snippets with us. Today's session is Calm the Conscious Mind, which I'm quite looking forward to, because last week Warren had, I don't know how he did it, but he somehow got myself and Paul in such a relaxed, calm state. So I'm looking to calming my conscious mind today. So thank you, Warren, for sharing your insights again today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And it was a pleasure to be here last week. And I'm looking forward to today and to next week.
Yes, absolutely. So we're talking about calming the conscious mind. Now, before we go into calming the conscious mind, can you just tell our listeners and watchers what is referred to by the conscious mind, and what's the difference between the conscious and the subconscious mind? If you can maybe start there, perhaps.
Okay, so let's first make it very simple. We have what is conscious to us, what we are aware of, which is what we call the conscious mind. And then there is what is unconscious to us. So what we're not aware of, like what is beating your heart for you at the moment? What is breathing for you at the moment? What is converting what you ate for breakfast into neurons and growing your hair? So we have aspects of our consciousness that we're aware of, that we're quite easily aware of, like our thoughts. For example, when you open your eyes, you see the world immediately. That's your conscious mind. It's very easy to become aware of. The unconscious mind includes things that you can become conscious of, and also things that are so deeply out of conscious awareness that it would require 30 years of deep meditation to become aware of. And maybe there are areas that you couldn't even become aware of. So you could then divide the unconscious into subconscious and unconscious. And the subconscious would be maybe those places that a memory that you've forgotten, that is in the subconscious. It's part of your biographical experience, and you can become conscious of it with a little bit of effort. We would also put your dreams into that dimension of consciousness. And then the unconscious is deep, deep latent impressions, or also deep sleep. So in the practice that we look at, we can explore consciousness from these 3 spaces: conscious, subconscious, and unconscious, or we can refer to them as waking, dreaming, and deep sleep.
And although it's so fascinating, and I would love for us to maybe at some point in time get more into the subconscious and unconscious, today we're talking about the conscious mind, and specifically to calm the conscious mind. And this is one thing I know most people struggle with, to just calm their thoughts. Why is it?
It is a challenge. It is a challenge. I don't think we can talk about the conscious mind without talking about the subconscious and unconscious. So the conscious mind is the surface of the lake. You can see all the ripples, the waves on the surface. But what is causing that? And that takes us into the unconscious. So if we can say that the thoughts in your mind, which are quite simply conscious thoughts, are being driven by unconscious feelings and unconscious processes. So it is very challenging to stop a thought. In fact, I don't even think you could stop a thought. It's passing through your mind. Where it came from and also where it's going is sometimes where we get hooked. We look at, why is this thought here? And then we create more thoughts by that. And then we try to follow it and say where it's going. And then we move and we start to create more thoughts and more disturbance. So the challenge is a distraction. It is a distraction. And the question is, are we able to let go of the distraction? And I think that using this term might be controversial, but we are addicted to thinking.
Makes sense.
We find our thoughts to be so entertaining because it covers up a much deeper experience of being. And if you take a child, for example, you distract a child with keys to get them to stop crying when they're very young. As the child grows and starts to understand, the keys don't become that much of a distraction. You have to now distract them with something else. We have learnt this behavior of distracting ourselves from a more fundamental experience of being. And so it's a learned behavior. And I'm not saying that you can teach your children how to be present and in the moment with what they're feeling. I think it will be extremely challenging because their nervous system can't handle that yet. But I think there is still something to be said for not distracting yourself from what you're feeling, from learning how to be with something that's uncomfortable.
That makes sense. It's interesting take on this. But I think the mind, I guess, wants to figure out maybe what this feeling is about.
In order to do what? What does the mind want to do with the feeling? It wants to stop pain. So the instinct is the instinct is employing the mind to try and fix the problem. So the instinct says fight or flight, which is survival. Even if it's not about survival. The illusion can be that it's about survival. So a fundamental belief can say to us that the delay in my wife not answering the phone quick enough means that I need to now freak out and panic, which is an illusion. But maybe I've had childhood experiences where that happened. And now I'm operating from this foundational belief that says when people don't respond quick enough, I have to jump into action. The experience, though, if we look at the experience underneath that, it's a feeling that we're uncomfortable with. And here is, if we haven't trained ourselves to be comfortable with uncomfortable feelings, we will always try to fix the feeling, even if it's not fixable. So can we agree that life is not always pleasant? Life is painful. If we are now going to say we must fix the pain of life, it's not possible. Life is painful and pleasurable. It's not something we can fix. So unless our nervous system can handle at least a certain amount of pain, pain is healthy. Tells you where there's a problem, maybe. I mean, giving birth, I've heard, is painful. So coming into the world is painful. We have things called growing pains. When we learn something, it's painful. We have to learn, we have to change. So a certain amount of tolerance, or learning how to tolerate a certain amount of pain, will allow you not to fix a problem that isn't really a problem. It's just the experience of growing.
Warren, could we replace the word pain with stress?
Definitely you could. But I think pain is a more simplified version, because it is stress. Pain is stress in a way, but pain is also just pain. Pain causes the stress response. So you can, if for simplicity's sake, you can lump them together. But I want us to go to the very core of why the mind becomes agitated and to recognize that there is actually a difference. You can feel pain and not be stressed.
Warren, is pain not a message?
Pain is a message? Sure, pain is a message. But which pain? If we have toothache, it's a message to tell you there's a problem. Maybe we should go to the dentist. But if I'm feeling pain, that is not about a physical, because I'm, sitting on a needle, or I'm being physically hurt, then what is that pain? Emotional pain can tell us about something. So I call this our emotional guidance system. Emotions, feelings are or can be painful. At a certain level, maybe irritation is not painful, maybe it's just a niggle. But in a way, it's just pain. Maybe you've learned to tolerate that irritation better than other people. Maybe you've learned to experience it so comfortably.
Let's use an example.
You sit in patience.
If I can use an example, maybe to make it a bit more tangible, let's say someone is in a new relationship, and you're in love and excited and so on. And I want to use the phone as an example, like you said. Let's say now you send, you're in love and you send that person a message in the morning and there's no response. That then obviously creates anxiety or a feeling of worry, what's wrong? Did I do something wrong? That's, I guess, the pain that you're talking about. Now, what is that message and what should one do? Because that pain makes it, someone wants to react. Why you're not getting back to me? Is everything okay? Did I do anything wrong? It's like an example. If we can use that example as pain that we need to sit with.
So when we fall in love in that space, we're actually projecting something we feel we don't have in ourselves. So when we project that onto someone, an object, that can either appear or disappear, and we don't have control over that, then we are tying ourselves to something that's transient. Something that might not be here tomorrow, right? And so what happens is when we project that outwardly onto someone and we, send them a message in the morning and then we don't hear back from them, what happens is that the thing that we thought we had that made us feel good is not available. So it shows us, the pain is actually showing us our misunderstanding of what we're doing, because we have projected love outwardly onto an object. And so the challenge is, can we become comfortable with retracting that projection again? And that's the discomfort. The pain shows us our misunderstanding and perception, but we don't interpret the pain like that. We don't look at the misunderstanding and perception. We say, why doesn't she call me back? Why didn't she send me a message? Or why didn't he send me a message? And so it's challenging to really look deeply within how we are interpreting the world and our experience in the world, because it's easy to project. That's nature. We project all the time.
Most people don't necessarily have that level of self-awareness to go within and to question that feeling, because when that feeling gets triggered, that's where the overthinking starts. That's where the conscious mind, like you said, calming the conscious mind, how the conscious mind runs with all, reasons and things, why this person is not responding, and that goes into a loop. It can keep people awake at night. I see it quite, often with people that I work with. So that's where the conscious mind then starts looping that negative thoughts, negative self-talk. How can one, in that space, just stop and, to calm that conscious thoughts that runs continuously?
So the challenge is to actually build awareness. There is no way out of the loop you're describing without looking within. You can't get out of that loop. That's the point. That's why there's no reason, there's no something special, something that can stop the conscious mind without, because who's driving it? Who's driving it? You, me. So I can't add something else on top of this unless I want to sedate myself, but that really doesn't fix the problem. I need to look at what is driving this incessant reason. I need to find out what all the time. But if I just looked at, I want to find out because I feel uncomfortable. Can I look into the origin of the discomfort? Because the discomfort, the feeling of discomfort, is actually showing me a fundamental belief if I'm willing to look deeper. What is the belief? I believe if that this person doesn't call me back in a certain period of time, it means that they don't love me. Or it means that I'm not good enough. Oh, so now what we've done is we've projected onto this person the power and authority to make me valuable. So if they don't share that sentiment back, I'm not valuable anymore. But who's given that? Who's given them the power? We have. But we don't want to take responsibility for that power. So we project it onto someone else. Because then it's not me. I'm not in the authority. But the reality is we are. We own our belief system. Even if it was given to me by my parents or my culture or whatever the case is, we have to become aware that the lens we are looking through is causing how we see the world, which creates that busyness in the mind.
And if someone then goes within and realizes a certain belief, how can they start challenging that belief? That obviously lies in the subconscious.
Right. So this is a great question. The reality here is if you actually became aware of the belief, if you actually saw it, and I say truly and clearly, because that's how I see it, the belief will lose its power. Because the moment you understand that it's a belief and not reality, all of a sudden you are dehypnotized from that. It's like when you're driving on the road and you see a mirage. We could say, if you've never seen one before, you could say, oh, I think that's water. We're going to have to go around. But if we walked up to the mirage slowly and you realized that a mirage is just an illusion, the previous belief that you thought it was water would just disappear. You wouldn't have to do something mechanically inside. You just have to investigate with honesty and courage, because it takes a lot of courage to look at a belief that we thought was foundation, was the ground of our understanding. The ground of our understanding gives us certainty in the world. It makes this chaotic world seem more okay and stable. But the reality is that is it's a convenience. It's not true. It's not real. It's not reality. It's a convenient way that we hold our nervous system in place to be calm. But if we had to actually go deeper and challenge the belief that we are standing on, maybe we see it's not even real. Because the moment you see through it, the moment you see it, it disappears.
And I guess this, Warren, is literally why a group of people sharing the same experience can all have a totally different experience of that, inverted commas, experience, because we're not seeing it. I'm not seeing the world how you do. You're not seeing it how Mareka does. Nobody sees it like Mary does. Sorry,
Right.
Mary. But yeah, the point is that things that can drive me mad, and I think this is probably something I've often asked myself, is like, why does nobody else worry about this? Why does it appear that nobody else worries about the lawlessness on the roads? Or why is it nobody else worries about all the litter at the park? Or very practical things that in my mind often determine my experience, other people might not even be aware of, and vice versa.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. Coming from, so you have personal beliefs that you're brought up with in your family, you have cultural beliefs, national beliefs, and each frame or lens, you don't realize you're looking through. We don't realize we're looking through these, rose-colored glasses.
How
So
can
the
we
moment-
reset these beliefs? Is there a way? Imagine being able to do like a factory reset. That could be pretty cool.
Well, that's a controversial topic. And yes, there are ways to do that that are not legal at the moment, but are being investigated through psychedelic research at Johns Hopkins University with psilocybin. Previously, it was with LSD in the 70s before it became illegal. But what they found is that certain substances like the psychedelics, like psilocybin, switch off this thing called the default mode network, which is what you could consider to be your ego, your identity. It switches it off, and you become almost multi-dimensional in the way you experience yourself in the world. And you're able to see through certain things. So it brings up a lot of unconscious beliefs that you never realized were there. And just seeing them has the ability to release you from their grip. When we conflate ourselves with a belief, we are stuck in it. We're stuck in the lens. We don't realize the lens is there. But once we see it, even if we glimpse it for a moment, it can have a profound impact on the rest of your life. But it doesn't mean that that's the work. That is like a taste. The work is, can you see it for yourself without the use of anything? And that requires the courage to look within. Look at your beliefs. Don't just assume your belief is a fact.
And it's not, as easy as we kind of, it's hard work. Let's be honest. And you have to be self-aware all the time. You have to take responsibility every single time, because it's so easy to, like you say, project onto someone else, versus every single time something comes up, to go within, to question what are the beliefs. So it's quite a big responsibility on yourself, to grow actually, and to learn and to let go of certain beliefs every single day when things appear.
Exactly. Marika, so you've mentioned something, responsibility, right? And isn't that what being an adult is? It is your responsibility. It is not someone else's responsibility to show you where your beliefs are falling apart, or where you're projecting onto other people, or where you have biases. But in a world where we live, actually other people do teach us. And when they teach us? When you feel irritated by them. That is when they are teaching us. When we are hurt, that is, everyone is a mirror. And what is it reflecting? It's reflecting all our unconscious biased beliefs and patterns to remind us, hey, you are responsible for the world that you see, even if it's painful. And sometimes that is a bitter pill to swallow, because some of the pains that we see in the world, especially today, it's horrific. And the reality is that unless we're able to ingest that, not turn a blind eye, ingest it, look inside. Where is that part of me? Where's the part that I hate? When I'm looking outside, where's that part that I hate? Inside of me too. And if I can do that, it leads me to our week 3, which is to cultivate compassion.
I look forward to that, because I think sometimes we do turn a blind eye. It doesn't, matter to me, or it doesn't have an impact on my life, so tend to turn a blind eye. So I look forward to that session. So Warren, to wrap up today, calming the conscious mind, what final thoughts can you leave for our listeners and watchers?
The practice I would suggest is to witness your 5 senses. Go through them one at a time. Take time out and just start to become aware. Notice, hey, what are you seeing at the moment in your vision? And what do you notice that you're jumping to conclusions about what you're seeing? The same thing, what you're feeling, what you're hearing, what you're smelling, everything. Do all 5 of those senses as an exercise. And then once you've systematically gone through your 5 senses, and maybe leave your sensation, your body feeling for last, then move inwardly. What do you notice? What thoughts are moving through your mind that you can just notice them and let them go, but just notice, just to investigate what's there. And the same thing then you do with emotion. What are you feeling in this moment? If you can't get to emotion, go to your senses. What are you sensing in your body? Like, what do your hands feel like? What do your arms feel like? What is your torso? What are your legs? Move your awareness through your body so that what you're doing is you're taking time out from the pattern and the momentum of your day to just be present to what is this thing? What is this thing I'm living in? What's in the way of what I'm seeing, maybe? So that it is not an assumption, but a curiosity and investigation.
Thank you so much, Warren. I think it's a great tool for all of us to use. I think it's just important to remind ourselves, maybe set a reminder, at some time throughout the day, just to interrupt, like you said, that pattern. Thank you. Very valuable advice.
Warren, you don't mention another sense, which is your sixth sense.
So I don't mention that because until you become inwardly conscious, you'll realize what that is quite naturally. Your sixth sense is not some magical sense. It really is this a sense of sensing what that is. There's a part of you that is aware of your 5 senses. It's not the conscious mind. There's something deeper because the conscious mind is thoughts. So what's aware of the thoughts? When you go deeper, that intuition that you could say is the 6th sense is certainly there. It's foundational, but if you are interpreting the world through your 5 senses, you're going to miss it because there's no way of proving that except to look within.
Very true. Thank you so much, Warren. And thank you for everybody that's listening and watching. If you would like to really get deeper into these topics, and work, with Warren, he's got his online stress mastery course. The link will be in this video or in the audio as well, if you want to join there. So thank you so much, Warren. I really look forward to our next session.
Me too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Warren. And thank you for, as Marika said, joining us for the session of the Coaching Hour. We'll look forward to the next one. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Marika.